Welcome to this episode of They Learn, You Win, the podcast from Skooks. I'm your host, David Wentworth. And, when we think of people who engage with leading edge learning technologies, hairstylists are probably not the first group of learners that come to mind. But my guest today shows how innovative approaches to learning are having a huge impact, regardless of the audience. So Jonathan Sorber is a learning and development professional. He's got over 15 years experience in training needs analysis and development. And at Sport Clips, he's responsible for implementing and delivering in-person training, virtual training, and e-learning materials. They've got over 16,000 learners. He's the subject matter expert when it comes to all the different advances in adult learning and instructional design. And he takes all of those things to try to build that climate of excellence throughout the entire organization. And so we're going to talk about some of the cool things that they're doing there. And so I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you very much. All right. And now I'm joined by Jonathan Sorber. You are Director of Learning Design and Analysis with Sport Clips.
Yep.
And we've talked before. We've actually presented before. So I'm really glad to get you into sort of this environment, doing these live sort of face-to-face podcasts. Normally, I do these through the computer. This is much more fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're at the event, and I got some time from you to come sit with me. And, what's interesting to me is this event, you probably can't go to a session at this event that doesn't talk about AI to some degree. But I've been doing a lot of podcast recordings, and it's strange to me. I haven't actually really talked about that with any of my guests. So I think we're an opportune time. We've had the day to be at the event and hear some things about what people are doing with AI. You and I actually haven't talked about this topic before, so I'd love to hear about, where you're at, what your thoughts are, what are some of the things that you're thinking about trying at Sport Clips, how it might fit into the environment. So, with that as a topic, where's your head at when it comes to AI?
I think I was like many people when you first heard it, like, oh, this is going to destroy learning and development. We don't need instructional designers anymore. We don't need curriculum analysts. We don't need anything. It's just AI is going to do it all. But then I started, watching some videos on it and seeing the tools that are available that we can use, and seeing really all these large companies that have really invested in AI. Is like, okay, there's something there. So, I was looking at the agenda for DevLearn. I'm like, they should call it the AI conference instead of DevLearn. But I was really excited to come here and actually get to play with the toys and see what it can do, because I'm sure, like most people, I've used ChatGPT,
Of course, yeah.
mainly just to have fun or play jokes with people or whatever. But I really saw, it was probably about 3 months ago. I'm like, I want to bust out some outlines real quick for training for our team members, our stylists, that doesn't really have anything to do with what we do at Sport Clips, but that will provide them some kind of skill or knowledge that they could use in their everyday life. So I'm like, I want to create one for changing the oil in your car, basic car maintenance. I want balancing a checkbook or filing your taxes, stuff like that, to just kind of life skills that, it's there. If they want it, they don't have to take it. That being said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, because there's no real quantifiable return to the company, although it is investing in our people. So I'm like, okay, I need to find a balance where I can speed up the process and still get good results from it. So I'm like, let me just check this ChatGPT thing out. And I checked it. I'm like, write me a basic outline for a 7-minute course on basic car maintenance. And it busted out this outline real quick and had it broken up by sections and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. So I kind of tucked those away. And then, I actually just went through a articulate user like training, and getting to see the AI, like what you can do in the instructional design world. And it gives more freedom for me to be creative. It gives me more time to be creative and actually design the content instead of taking the time to actually create the content, make sure the words sound good.
So what's great about this example that you've provided, right? We're talking about AI, but you've managed to almost unknowingly highlight something that's great about what you guys do, is that this idea of providing those kind of learning experiences for your teams, that here's some stuff that you might need to know that doesn't really have to do with your job. And that's something that I've sort of always admired by the stories that you and your team tell, is that investment in your people and development. And it also highlights this great thing, the way you've approached it, like, oh, here's the thing I want to do, but like you said, I can't invest the normal sort of building investment that I would make. So I think that's a great example. And, really, for me, a lot of the experiences or applications of AI, what it boils down to is we start to demystify it as some unknown magical thing that does this.
Yeah.
Ooh, who knows? What is really doing in that example is it's Googling really, really well, like better than we can, and then organizing those results in a way that makes sense, right? And it's just that's the thing of, okay, that's what's helping is I don't have to spend the time to look for everything that's available, pick the best thing, organize it in some way. Instead, we've shrunk that time down, and then it's presented to you, and then you can do what you want with it, and build from
Right.
there. That's a
Right.
great application of it. I think that's great. So that's something you're doing, sort of right now on your own initiative.
Yeah, just kind of when
Yeah.
I have time, just kind of play with it a little bit.
Nice.
And
I know we're sort of in the middle at this point of the event, but have you seen anything like at the expo hall or from anybody that's piqued your interest from an AI standpoint?
the ability, I created an avatar with one of the vendors, a free avatar that I can try out, and
Mm-hmm.
got a trial to use their software. But what really interested me with that, again, time saving, is we're a people first business,
Mm.
right? Our team members that we support are out there in the field cutting hair with our clients. It's always going to be people on
Yeah.
people until they develop a hair cutting robot one day.
Please don't.
Yeah, the robots will cut us, I bet. But anyways, what they have is an avatar that, for this one, will be me. So having a face for radio, we probably won't use it too much. But it I read through a script, it's creating this avatar for me, and I can give it text to speech, and it'll be my voice and my face. So for me, the possibilities are endless there of, using that to create these assets, shortening the time it takes me to
Hmm.
create courses, gives me more time to go out and interact with the people in the field, finding out what training they need, what training they want, how we can support them better, always keeping our content fresh and relevant instead of, oh, it's been 3 years, time to dust off that course, give it a new paint job, and slap it back out there.
Yeah. What you're describing, I think I know which one you're talking about. Is it Colossian or
No,
Synthesia?
Veed.
Oh, Vita. So
Yeah.
there's so many, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just named two, and it wasn't either of them. I had experience with the Colossian one, which I was asked to create a module for a certification program that one of our partners put together, and my module was on selecting an LMS and things to look through, and they did it much the way you're describing. I had a video capture of myself speaking, sort of moving, making facial gestures, and the funniest part to me was when they were done with that, and I had a trial to check it out and see if it was okay. It hadn't captured my voice yet, so it was me, and I'm looking at a video of me speaking, but I'm speaking with a British accent as the default, and it was the weirdest thing. And then it had me record a whole bunch of paragraphs and whatnot. And the next thing I know is it's me. I'm watching me saying this script that I had written for the module, but I never said,
Yeah.
and I'm actually watching myself say it, and it's fascinating and terrifying all at
Yep.
the same time. But that's the thing. What you can do now is, well, if there's ever a need for a new module, I don't just need to write the script for it, and
Right.
it's there, and I'm presenting it. So yeah, it's pretty wild what's out there. But then, of course, in that same thing, when I was putting it together, I made sure we all signed things that said you can't do anything with this without me looking at it first.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I was thinking about was, getting our founder, Gordon Logan, or our CEO, Edward Logan, to do that so that I could have their avatar and we could create welcome videos and, use the software to personalize them to new team members when they get on. They're getting a welcome video
Yeah.
from the founder. Like, that'd be pretty cool.
Saying
But
their name and talking about them and where they are.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's something. I feel like it would be game. I mean, I've seen you talk about him before, and he's up for
yeah,
most of that kind
I'm
of
pretty
stuff.
sure they would do it. They
Yeah.
would probably make me sign something that said I won't use it to give myself days off or something.
Exactly. Well, that's fascinating. Okay, so you're seeing. I love that you're trying stuff on your own. You're exploring some of the established providers that are doing this kind of stuff. What else do you see for your environment specifically that you might want to use something that's AI driven, because that's a pretty widespread, from a ChatGPT prompt to a virtual avatar. So there's all this space in between. Anything else that you're interested in?
Yeah, the Storyline 360, we're gonna get it, the AI assistant,
Okay.
just to help build that stuff out quicker. because it's so good with Rise 360 as well,
Mm-hmm.
we can pump out a lot of content we've been waiting to create because we didn't have time. Pump a lot of it out quick and then go back, like I said, we got those avatars, go back and add those later. Kind
Mm.
of iteratively develop our content instead of, okay, no new content for a year till we get this figured out. And then, oh, look at all these avatars and stuff. It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
But just like pacing ourselves and kind of baby stepping our way into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's almost how you want to approach anything that you do from a technology shift, those pilots, test runs, things like that, and get people accustomed and used to it. I think that's a good approach for sure. Yeah, I think that's another key thing when it comes to AI. If you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, when you've got a smaller team, perhaps that you're working with, the ability to speed up some of this process, get some of the work done that you couldn't get done. No one's saying, "Oh, we no longer need instructional designers," or "You don't need people to do this." We're not replacing the people; we're replacing tasks. I feel
Right.
like, or being able to apply to tasks that weren't even attempted before because there was no capacity to do that. So I think a lot of potential there.
I look at it as I'm going to get it to do the stuff I don't want to do so I can do the fun stuff that I want to do.
Hmm.
Like if I get AI to help me with a lot of my job that I'm currently doing manually, then that gives me time to develop augmented reality stuff that I've been wanting to do since I started Sport Clips.
Hmm.
That's been a super interest of mine. We tested virtual reality; it wasn't for us, but augmented reality, I really think we could see a benefit. Like not only like developing their skills, but also helping with their knowledge of the products that we provide in the stores,
Hmm.
which would then help the clients and maybe even one day developing client facing experiences that they could do while they're waiting in the lobby. Scan this QR code. Look how
Yeah.
fun this is. Maybe there's a game I can play.
Yeah. That's wild. I just spoke to someone on the podcast who was a VR, developer, and they did a lot of work with like Walmart creating
Mhm.
VR programs for them. One of the things we talked about is it's cool, but you have to use it for something specific. Like you have to be solving something. There's a reason why. It's not just because it's fun. So I like to hear that you say, well, we gave it a shot and it turns out it didn't match our needs, right? So
Right.
that's a great thing. Let's see, does this work? It doesn't. You don't have to use it because it's new and cool and fun if it doesn't meet your need. But then you're shifting to like, okay, what about AR, augmented reality? So what would that look like in your mind? If you're like, oh, I want to do more with that, what kind of a thing would the stylist be looking at from an augmented reality standpoint? What do you envision?
So in my mind, they've all got phones, right? So that
Yeah.
solves a big problem of technology in the stores of who would provide it, how's
Yeah.
it maintained. They all have phones. Most of them will keep them upgraded to the new phone. So what I envision is they pull out their phone, scan their bottle of shampoo,
Mm-hmm.
or more than likely we would host the experience in our learning management system Skooks, and we would have them click a link that would take them to the experience on their phone,
All right.
and then the trigger image could be that bottle of shampoo, and it'll show them a video of how to apply the shampoo, give them quick facts about the main ingredients in it, how long this size bottle should last, maybe have other tips about how it smells, why it smells that way, anything else benefits that it provides, because that's one thing we consistently hear is we want more product knowledge training, and it's a good opportunity for us to partner with our suppliers to one help offset that cost and two help promote their product in
Right.
a better way, because what we find is when the stylists know more about the product and they're passionate about
Yep.
it, that's the one that they're educating with more to the clients
Yeah.
than another.
I was just going to say the same thing. We see that in sort of these partner reseller environments where an organization has a product that they don't necessarily sell, but they've got this network of partners that sell for them. Well, those partners sell other products as well. And they always say the training for those partners has to be top notch because salespeople will default to the product that they know the most about, they feel the most comfortable with, and that's what they're going to sell. And so if that comes from the training. And so it's interesting to hear it in that environment. Same thing. Your suppliers, it's in their best interest that your stylists know the most, or are optimized on how these things all work. So do you envision because that's what I think is the key here is it isn't I'm going to go sit at this table with a tablet or the laptop and I'm going to read about all the products. It's I'm in the station. Here's what's around me. this is what this does. This is what I should use this for. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So it's in the moment, which I think is really what this is all about. That's the key for that stuff, is literally while I'm there and I'm in the environment, that's going to make that stuff stick way more than if you have to read it and then 2 days later, which one was it? That kind of thing. That's great.
And the same thing is like shampooing a client in the bowl, like following the correct procedures, like being able to point their camera at the shampoo bowl and it overlay in their environment, seeing exactly how that's done.
Yeah.
I think that'd be huge for us. And then, thinking future, not really my expertise or whatever, but what's stopping us from having some kind of augmented reality where we could show a tablet to the client, this is what your hair is going to look like based on what you've told me.
Yeah.
This is where your sideburns are going to be. This is the length of your beard.
Yeah.
There's some of that stuff already with makeup, and I think
For
with
sure.
women's hair and stuff, but I mean,
or like trying on glasses virtually, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't see why that wouldn't come at some point. People are very precious about their hair, as much as they should be, and that thing. So I think that'll come maybe later. I think people are less likely to concede to technology in that area. But I think why wouldn't there be a possibility? You have a series of inputs and say, this is what we need to know about you and what you're looking for. Is this what we're talking about? And I mean, I know when I go, that's one of the hardest things in the world for me to do, is explain what I want to happen. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people.
It is. It was true for me until I started working at Sport Clips. I'm like, I don't know, I want it shorter on the sides than it is on top. Now I can go in and, of course, tell them in their language that they learned in school, like exactly what I want. And they're like, okay. But before I'm like, I don't know. How do you want your neckline? I'm like, whatever looks good.
Yeah, what's that? or I even imagine, what about the idea of, because people always come in to get their haircut and they'll have a picture. I'm like that. All right, what if you could input a photograph, but then also input the client, and then you could do some sort of overlay or some comparison and say, cool. Yes, this is what you want, this is what it looked like, or maybe you don't want to do this.
Yeah, that would be a good visual, because the stylists know, like, based on a guy's face shape, what haircut is going to fit that face shape better, what beard is going to fit that face shape better. So that would be a good idea for them to really be like, no, this is what you would look like if I do that. Yeah. Let me suggest doing this instead, which they're already really good at. And, and educating the client, like, okay, because you have they try to put it nicely, because you have a round face.
But that's the thing. Now, maybe in the future, you can just literally show them, it takes away some of that, that hesitancy to have that conversation. It's like, the technology doesn't lie. This is it. Yeah. Oh, that's why I like the possibilities there. So you guys are always doing new stuff. One of the things I liked, sort of diverge off of AI a little bit. You guys are very much into, I don't want to just say gamification and simplify it, but this way you guys get people invested in, leveling up and doing more with their development. Have you guys started anything new since we've talked about that? Do you have anything on the horizon?
We are going to be starting something more in Skooks with the leaderboards and stuff. We really want to invest some time into doing that, because our learners are very competitive and they like to see that. So what we want to do is really dedicate time to having a clear path for badging and a clear path for leaderboards and games, and then actually creating games within the learning. We've already done that with some of our in-person training that our coaches provide, but we really want to do it with e-learning too, like go into Storyline and create a game. They don't even know they're learning, but they're picking up knowledge around the way. Another thing that would be really great for product knowledge is some kind of game that they can go through, and I have all these ideas like, oh, it could be kind of like The Price is Right, or it could be kind of like this, and it's like, okay, baby steps. Maybe just a short little game embedded in it, or some kind of point system, because like we've always had the idea of, it's really important for anybody to know what's in it for me. Why are you telling me I have to do this? One of my favorite phrases. And so we want to like have a dollar sign with money and be like, the decisions you make on doing this or that will affect this money that you end up at the end. Because I mean, that's not the number one driver, of course, for most people, I would say, at least most of ours, based on surveys and stuff we've done, but it still matters.
Right. And to be able to show them that, you tap into that sort of maybe hidden motivator that they didn't realize how much it meant to them, in that context anyway. That's great. So, listen, I love talking to you. I think you guys are always doing such great things. You really everything that you talk about, you show how much you care about the people that you're taking care of. So, I love that, and it's great to hear because I talk so much about AI and all these different environments, and I'm always trying to talk people off the ledge about it's don't get caught up, and to hear you just have both the excitement about it, but the practicality, like you're definitely grounded about, yeah, I'm not fooling myself about what's available, and you're trying things, and you're also trying things with your eye on a specific outcome.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to me, that's, if you can just do that whenever you're approaching anything AI related, just start to get in your head, say, okay, what am I trying to do? How is AI going to get there? And stop trying to think of it as this weird black box where something happens, because there's really things happening in there.
Yeah.
There's actual things. You don't have to be mystified by it. So I appreciate your perspective on all these things. I hope people, will take that away, that there's a practical approach to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's great to see you, and thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.